Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for reaching out.
Absolutely. So the purge of the Utah Jazz continues. A couple months ago, it was Walt Perrin being added to the staff, and now it's Johnnie Bryant. Tell us a little bit about Johnnie Bryant and what he'll bring to the club.
Johnny's kind of an interesting. He's a developmental coach. Now, that's kind of the case with every Utah Jazz assistant right now. That's one thing that Quinn Snyder is really looking for. He doesn't necessarily he doesn't hire old head coaches. He's not looking for the veteran on the bench to come in and kind of tell him how to do things the old way. He likes to have young guys who are going to put in, 70, 80 hours a week at least as they kind of prepare game plans. Then, of course, develop some of their other players. And that's been really Johnnie Bryant's big thing for the Jazz when he came in. He's been working with Donovan Mitchell a lot. He worked with Paul Millsap when he was here with the Jazz. So that's certainly his MO with the team and has kind of worked his way up. I don't know if he's the number two guy on Quinn Snyder's bench. Quinn doesn't really do it like that. He just kind of has a rotating bench of a lot of people. And the more seniority you have, kind of the further up the bench you move. But he's been with the Jazz for a long time and is very well regarded here in the state and certainly nationally as well.
Hard not to make the Donovan Mitchell link when you factor in Leon Rose's old agent this year. Now you have Walt Perrin, the guy who scouted and wanted to draft him here, and now one of his close friends. Talk a little bit about the relationship between Johnnie Bryant and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, so the way Quinn Snyder likes to do it, and he has one of the bigger assistant coaching staffs in the NBA. Each coach is probably assigned, two or three players on the Jazz bench. So Johnnie Bryant has worked a lot with Donovan Mitchell since he's come in a couple of years ago, and so when we walk in after practice and we're waiting to interview the players, you can see each individual coach working with their specific players. And Johnnie Bryant, Donovan Mitchell are usually together, whether it's working on shooting, whether it's working on a floater that Donovan Mitchell's been working on for a long time. You can see that kind of they're guys that they're certainly have been working together now for a few years. And on top of that, I mean, I think you could see it on Donovan Mitchell's Instagram page if you haven't checked it yet. He certainly had a nice ode to Johnny today of just them hanging out before games, after games, during practice. You can just see that relationship is close, and they've got a bond. It's going to be a loss for the Jazz for sure, but I imagine that's something that's going to stick with Donovan Mitchell.
Absolutely. And, a lot of the naysayers are going to speculate that this is likely a move to try to, spur Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks down the road. But I mean, contractually, though, I can't see him not, signing a max contract with the Jazz. I mean, what do you think about his contract situation and sticking around with the Jazz in the long term?
Yeah, so Donovan's eligible to sign a max contract extension this summer, though that technically wouldn't kick in until next summer. So the Jazz will give him a max contract the day that they get eliminated from the playoffs, or I guess October 19th, as soon as they're eligible to start signing contract extensions, the Jazz will have it on his desk and ready for him to sign, assuming he's willing to do it. Now, is he going to take the 5 years? Is he going to take 3 years? I think those are questions for the Jazz that they're going to have. I think they're going to assume he's going to take the 5 years. And then if you want out, you find a way to push yourself out the way Anthony Davis has in the past, with the New Orleans Pelicans. They wanted to move on from him before he could leave in free agency. So I think Donovan's going to sign the contract. The Jazz are going to be happy to give him the contract. And then you just hope for the best. You hope that relationship stays really good. And if it doesn't stay good, then you move him if you have to.
Yeah. So, I mean, in other words, for the Knicks, I mean, it's either, package up the whole house or you're going to have to wait a couple years. I mean, this is like people are saying, this is 4 or 5 years down the road anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that's on the horizon, the Jazz moving Donovan Mitchell, unless something goes absolutely horrifically wrong. And, they're building this franchise around him. They're giving him the keys to the franchise. So I don't see a situation where that's necessarily going to happen. But, things go wrong. Things do change very quickly in the NBA. You get recruited by the right team or something goes wrong with teammates or a coaching staff. It can certainly happen. So I think one of the things we're going to start to see in the future of the NBA is teams positioning themselves to be ready in case there's a fallout of a player, in case somebody becomes available to say, hey, we want to go out. And remember, James Harden was available to the Houston Rockets, or Anthony Davis is now available to go and join the Lakers. I think that's something you're going to see more often.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, from a Knicks standpoint, they shouldn't be waiting on him. They need to get their own development side of the house together. And it seems like that's what Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose are doing. You know, and bringing in Kenny Payne from Kentucky, a developmental focus. Bringing in a young upstart like a Johnnie Bryant, who again has a knack for player development. I mean, I think, you know, to just say that this is a Donovan Mitchell move is sort of selling Johnnie Bryant short. I mean, you be the judge. You know, you've covered the team for a number of years, but based on my research, it seems like a guy like a Johnnie Bryant is really an upstart coach who has kind of been moving from the player development side of things to really getting into game tactics as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, I mean, like I said, he went to the University of Utah here locally after he finished school. I mean, he was just kind of that guy that every college team has, 6 foot tall, hits 45% from the 3-point line, but really doesn't have a pro future unless he wants to go play overseas. So he was hanging out in Utah and working with Ronnie Price, if you remember him, a longtime NBA player, and then ended up working with Paul Millsap a little bit when Millsap was on the Jazz in the offseason. And the Jazz were so impressed with the work he was doing privately that they brought him in Quinn Snyder's staff. So, I mean, it's a testament to who he was as a player development coach before he even joined the Jazz, that he got hired. And then from getting hired, he just continued to kind of grow up the bench, move up the bench, and stayed with the Jazz. And then, you know, this is an elite job. Getting an assistant head coaching job or you know, an associate head coaching job is a big deal. So it's not like it's only a Donovan Mitchell ploy, or if they don't get Donovan Mitchell, that this was a bad hire. And we see teams do that. They'll make weird hires to try and get somebody in free agency. Knicks are going to be happy with this move regardless.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Looking forward to seeing how he works with some of our young guys, R.J. Barrett and Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina as well. And hey, we got the lottery coming up on Thursday, so cross our fingers. Hopefully it'll be another impact player to help move this team forward. But, you know, your Jazz are right now currently in the bubble, you know, trying to survive. They had a spectacular Game 1 overtime loss to the Nuggets, in which aspired to drop 57 points. What do you see out of the Jazz in this series, and what do you think about the outcome?
You know, I think it's going to be interesting to see how quickly they can get Mike Conley back. He's back in the bubble now, and I think they're certainly hoping to have him back by Friday for Game 3. It's hard to need those heroics from Donovan Mitchell every night because he's not going to give you 57. I mean, you know, Dame is as close as you can get to doing that, and he'll go 60 one night and 40 the other. So maybe it's possible, and Donovan Mitchell's probably going to try and put that workload on his back, but he might be just as prone as going 10 of 35 in a game as he is to go off for 57 points again. So the Jazz are in a tough matchup right now with the Nuggets, obviously, and they're going to need more help around Donovan until Mike Conley gets back. And then that just means Rudy Gobert's got to step up. He was good in Game 1, but he wasn't as good as he can be. The bench really wasn't very good. They need more production from Jordan Clarkson. So they're going to have a chance in this series. I wouldn't count them out because they lost Game 1, and certainly the Jazz don't feel like they're up against the wall. But they're going to need to get Mike Conley back to make up for that loss of Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yeah, and you know, Conley obviously gets the troops rallied, and you're missing your sharpshooter in Bogdanovic. But you know, the interesting thing about the bubble is that, you know, you take away the crowd, you take away the travel time. I mean, it's really hard to gauge, you know, who's really going to come out of this thing on top, because again, you take away those elements, and to me, it really evens the playing field a little bit, where in my opinion, it's going to be the hottest team that comes out of this thing and not necessarily the best.
Yeah, and one of my theories that I'm kind of starting to develop, because we're seeing these kind of epic games, and even Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell were doing it, of these players hitting just ridiculous shots late in games like it's a scrimmage.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of is a scrimmage, right? There's no fans there. I mean, this isn't it. Everyone is hoodie mellow right now because there's no pressure from the fan base. You're not hanging on every shot like that. So these guys might have a little bit more confidence in the way that they're playing. So it might come down to more than just, hey, traditionally LeBron James knows how to deal with the crowd, or you know, the Lakers have this advantage, or these teams have these great home court advantages. That's just not going to matter. It might come down to who's most comfortable playing in these quiet environments and who can get hot, like you're saying, and stay hot without the pressure of the fan base. And I think that's going to change what the outcome of these series looks like. And look, we saw Milwaukee lose a game earlier today that they have no business losing to the Orlando Magic. So maybe we'll see more of that down the line.
Yeah, and their team I look at, you know, no favorites at all in the East. I actually like Toronto coming out of it, but we'll see what happens, man. Very interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And, you know, having been there before in Toronto might give them the edge and the momentum. I'm saying, hey, we know how to deal with adversity. Our backs are against the wall. But Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, They have guys that we know can hit big shots. Pascal Siakam can take over a series. They did it last year. So just having done it before, we probably can't count them out at this point. Losing Gordon Hayward to Boston, with Boston up for the rest of the year, is going to be a big loss for them. So there's a lot going on. Houston looks great as they're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they can certainly hit shots all game long. So yeah, this is going to be, it's going to be hard to place a favor on who's going to win it all in this year.
True indeed, man. Well, Ben, I definitely appreciate you coming by and giving us some time. Second time on the show, man. Second time on the show. So thanks again for your insights, and we'll definitely catch up soon. Please let the fans know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Ben's Hoops. You can read me at KSLSports.com. And yeah, I imagine there's going to be more Jazz Knicks connections coming up in the future. So keep in touch.
Absolutely, man. Ben, take it easy.
See ya.
All right, so that was Ben Anderson, my guy Ben. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this Johnnie Bryant hire? You know, funnily enough, I was on the gram yesterday, and somebody had hit me up, and you know, not a journalist by any stretch, but we get little birdies, we get little tidbits here and there, little gems dropped on us from time to time. So somebody had told me from yesterday morning, they said that a new coaching hire was going to be announced this week, and it was going to surprise some people. He was going to be big on player development and also have a good relationship with the players. So I didn't really want to say anything because I wasn't so sure how credible, you know, the lead was, and I didn't want to just throw anything out there that was, you know, without, you know, credibility. But it came true, and so Johnnie Bryant was a surprise hire that is going to be added to the Tom Thibodeau bench. 32 years old. And so now the question is, what happens with Mike Woodson? So what we're hearing is Mike Woodson is still expected to join the staff. Mike Miller, on the other hand, is not. Mike Miller is not expected to return to the Knicks. From what various reports are saying, is that Mike Miller is going to be looking for another job. He's going to be looking for more head coaching opportunities where he could shine. I mean, remember now, with the addition of Johnnie Bryant, with the addition of Kenny Payne, and potentially Mike Woodson, Mike Miller is going to be looking at the fourth assistant coaching job on the staff. So does he really want that? Does he go to college? Does he end up higher up on the assistant coaching levels at the NBA level? Does he luck into a head coaching job? I don't know. I don't know how the rest of the league feels about him. You know, it seems like he's had a relatively short resume with the with the Knicks as the interim coach, but you never know. But wish him well. Obviously, from what they're saying is that if he doesn't find a position that he wants out there, that the Knicks would welcome him back in some sort of player development role. Mark Berman did mention that earlier this year when he came on the show, that when the Knicks were in their coaching search, that Mike Miller, though he had a long shot to be the head coach, that they would look to bring him back in some sort of role. So for right now, he will not be joining the team. But listen, from a Johnnie Bryant standpoint, I think, number one, you got to respect his grind. I mean, this is a guy that, you know, started from the bottom. He went overseas for a year to try to make it. Was an undersized guard. Didn't really work out. He goes back to Utah, where his wife was, his fiance was, his mom was sick there. Goes back to Utah and basically just embarks on a journey to just within basketball. He didn't really have a direction, but he starts working out. He starts in these pickup games with some in the gyms where the Utah Jazz players play. Links up with Ronnie Price. Ronnie Price ends up hiring him. Ultimately, Ronnie Price leads into Paul Millsap, which leads into Gordon Hayward, which leads into the then coach Tyrone Corbin and his kids who were trying to matriculate into the game. All these people seeking out Johnnie Bryant's tutelage as a player development coach. Ultimately, that leads into the Jazz GM Dennis Lindsey, who sends his kids to Johnnie Bryant and to have them be developed, and ultimately he parlays that into a player development role with the Jazz. So you got to respect his grind first and foremost. Now, for all the Spider Mitchell talk, again, like Ben and I had discussed, that's a long time coming. That's a long time coming. Unless the Knicks are just trying to give up the whole farm, and Utah's not trading him. Forget about it. I mean, this guy just dropped 57 in the playoff game last night against the Nuggets. This is their future. So unless he shocks everybody and signs a $7 million qualifying offer, which is set to take place in 2 years, then he becomes a free agent. I mean, that's at the minimum 2 seasons after this that you could even speculate on it. So for now, again, I'm not talking about, I'm not worried about any big names coming here. Let's get the house in order. Let's get the foundation in order. From what we see, it seems like Leon is putting some names in here that, one, these guys are going to work. Johnnie Bryant, Kenny Payne coming in with a tough, no-nonsense mentality when it comes to practice. These guys are going to be working. Thibodeau as well. Now, again, development is the focus, and that's what we need. That's where we need to be playing. Let's get our own draft picks in order. Let's build the next Donovan Mitchell, or at the very least, develop these guys to a point where they become actual valuable assets in the trade where you don't have to give up the house. Right? So, again, on paper, looks good. 32-year-old upstart coach. Congratulations to him. And let's see where this puts the Knicks going into the future. So, again, can't knock this one. Cannot knock this one. Let's go to the phones, hear from some people. Raw Hebrew Remnant is up first. What's going on, bro?
How you doing, my man?
Good, man.
Real quick, man. So I like the hire. Just on that, real quick, I like the hire. Only the last shoe to drop is to let Perry walk somewhere, and then we'll have a whole new situation and a good front office. And I like it. It's a winning type of front office. So that's good.
Yeah.
This is, you think about it. I mean, realistically, the Knicks really don't have any shot that's not going to hurt them at any really top free agent in 2021. And the really only guy that's going to be available is AD, and he ain't coming here. He's going to re-sign with the Lakers. Yeah. So we really, as far as free agents, our best shot is at these guys like a Bertan, like a Harris, like a Beasley or Gallo or Jeremy Grant. And I feel like if we can get 2 of those guys, to add to the core that we have, without losing anything, I think we'll be in a very good situation, going forward. Yeah. We're not going to win any championships in the next couple of years. But if we could develop these guys and get to like a 45-win team, let's say in 2 years, that's real development. So I'm liking the hire. I feel bad about Miller, but he should get a head coaching gig somewhere, or at least a co-head coach somewhere.
Right.
Chicago's open. They got a couple other places going to be open. So I think he'll land on his feet. He's a good coach. But I like what we got. I hope we get to. We're going to have around $45 million of cap space, and that's keeping Bullock. So I think we could add 2 good guys in here, Bertans and Harris. Can you answer me this, man? I'm wondering how. Okay, so the Nets are over the luxury tax, and they've been over the luxury tax. Like they're a repeat offender, so they pay like $2 to $2.50 for every dollar they're over the luxury tax.
Right.
So when they sign, let's say they sign Harris to $20 million or $15 million, they're going to pay 2 times that in luxury tax.
Yeah.
You think they're going to do that?
It's an interesting question. It depends on what Joe Tsai wants to do, or really what Katie and Kyrie want to do. It's a very interesting question, and based on my research, yeah, you're right that the Nets are going to be looking at some luxury tax hell should they retain Joe Harris. So it's going to be a matter of whether Joe Tsai wants to do that, and maybe they make some moves to cut some salary, with some lower end roster moves to try to reshape that. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. But appreciate the call, Raw Hebrew Remnant. Also, it was announced that training camp is going to happen for the Knicks in their home market, September 21st to October 6th. This was an agreement between the NBA and the NBA Players Association for the non-Orlando teams. So September 21st to October 6th, we will have a in-market camp. So now that's going to include, it's going to be voluntary. Let's see. It says The program will be implemented in phases. First phase, September 14th to the 20th, will consist of continuation of voluntary individual workouts at team facilities. Second phase, September 21st to October 6th, will consist of group training activities in market, which may include practices, skill, conditioning sessions, intra-squad scrimmages, and continuation of COVID-19 testing. So you'll have your G League guys, you'll have some of the main roster guys. You won't have your upcoming draft picks or draft pick. You won't have your upcoming draft pick because the draft is October 15th. So that's one person you won't have. But for the other guys and for most importantly for the coaching staff that wants to connect with these guys and make sure that, you know, everybody gets on the same page, that's a good look. That's a good look. So we'll see how that all plays out. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. A little technical difficulties, but as you can see, that can never hold us down because we got to get the news out to the people. And so today's news was Johnnie Bryant. Johnnie Bryant, the new associate head coach, not assistant associate. Put some respect on that name, is joining Tom Thibodeau and his staff. So I was notified of this yesterday, as TM said in the chat. I did mention it in our Twitter private group chat. I told the fellas in the group chat. I didn't want to just blast it out there because I wasn't so sure. But I was alerted of it yesterday that to expect another developmental hire that was going to surprise some people. And certainly this was it. So, I also have some family that works on the coaching staff for the Utah Jazz. And he said Johnny's going to be an asset to New York. Definitely going to be an asset for the team. He's really a student of the game, really strong in developing players and relating to the guys. Great hire for you guys. So that's from a close family friend who works with the Jazz organization who had some high marks for Johnnie Bryant. So again, need the horses in here, but let's see what happens. Christian from Brooklyn. Christian, how you feeling?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. What's going on?
I actually joined the show a little late today, but I don't really know the energy or what survives, but I just wanted to bring up two things. The first thing, before I get into what I'm really excited about, is that I stay away from Tobias Harris. He's a good player, but I don't think the Knicks are in a position to sign a player like that. It's not going to take him to the playoffs. He's more of a complimentary player. You don't really pay that guy that much money to come to New York just to be, a scorer. If the Knicks do get some veterans, I would like to see them sign a combination of Marcus Morris and Gallinari. I think that'll add some space into the floor. They're interchangeable too. They could play the 3 or the 4. I think those two guys would work well together with the Knicks and RJ and Mitch. I really like the hires by Leon Rose. This tells me that, the Knicks of old, there was those reports back a few months ago, a few weeks before Tobias Harris got signed that, the contract issues was going to stop Tom Thibodeau from signing. The Knicks of old would have not been able to sign Tom Thibodeau after that report.
Yeah.
So Leon is, you can see his agent skills are really helpful right now. He was able to, renegotiate, bring Tom Thibodeau here, and also, get a guy like Tom Thibodeau who's used to having veterans on his team and, his philosophy and stuff, and bringing guys in Tom Thibodeau's staff who's probably never really been the type of staff that Tom Thibodeau usually would have had, like KP and this new guy. So I really see Leon Rose really investing in the youth.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. The Knicks have never done that. The Knicks have always got, guys like Jeff Hornacek and Mike Woodson, and they would bring, guys that have been in the league already, not really developmental assistant coaches, more like a group of all head coaches coming together. So this was exciting for me, and I really like him. I want to thank you for having me also. So appreciate that.
Of course, no problem, man. Absolutely. This is what we're here for, man. It's no Knicks basketball, but we're here. Families in here. We got about 400 people in the chat bearing with us, technical difficulties and all. That's what we're talking about. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We got to catch up on the thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Christian mentioned Tobias Harris earlier. No, it was Joe Harris. Joe Harris from the Nets. But, I guess his sentiments are still the same. He doesn't want to overpay for a guy like that. I mean, see, the thing is, number one, you got to factor in a couple things. Number one, the cap space, right? Raw Hebrew Remnant alluded to that on the previous call. They're going to have cap to spend. They're going to have to spend 90% of that cap. You're not going to get AD. Probably not, right? You're not going to get any premier free agent in this. So the money's going to have to be spread around between a couple of guys. So, yeah, you factor in, you're going to have to factor in a likely overpay for one of these guys. Maybe a Joe Harris, maybe a Bertans. Hopefully, if they fill a need, then, you turn a blind eye, cut the check, and keep it pushing. But, they're going to have to, unless they plan to bring back a lot of the guys that they brought in last year. Do they bring back Portis on $15 million? Do they bring back Ellington, Peyton at $10 million? Those guys. Now, if they're going to do that, do they bring back Taj, which I think they will, at $10 million? If they do that, then, yeah, they'll be able to eat up some of that cap. They'll have some flexibility in trying to trade some of these contracts mid-season, hopefully, and try to get some more picks. Do they take some of that cap space and buy a second-round pick in the draft or two? Do they take some of that cap space and make an Iguodala-like trade for next season, absorbing a player with 2 or 3 years on his deal at an overpaid deal, but you're going to get a first round pick in exchange, right? Continuing to build a cupboard, continuing to replenish the war chest for future gain. I'd like to see them weaponize the cap in that way, but I could also see them overpaying for a role player. I could also see them overpaying for a role player too. You just hope that he fits, he can shoot, and you keep it pushing. So, again, a guy like a Joe Harris, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. Raw Hebrew Remnant also brought up Scott Perry. It's interesting because Scott Perry is linked to this Kings opening. The Kings let Vlade Divac go. Now Joe Dumars is the executive in charge right now on an interim basis. They're going to be looking for a full-time GM. Scott Perry was the assistant GM back in 2017 for a stint. Picked up De'Aaron Fox, Harry Giles. And so people are speculating that maybe Perry, who's on a lame duck contract here, could be linked back to Sacramento. I don't think it's anything in stone. Macri did report that Sacramento had been in contact with Perry. So let's see what happens there. And then what happens? Berman is speculating that Walt Perrin could be in line for the GM job should that happen. But we'll see. We'll see very early and see what happens. I had an interview with Brandon Williams. He was the assistant GM who took over for Perry. And I should be releasing that between tomorrow and Thursday. But we talked a lot about the Knicks' path, the rebuilding, how to utilize the G League, why they passed up on Luka Doncic and took Marvin Bagley, and ultimately Brandon Williams was fired from the Kings. They said they felt like he sabotaged Dave Yeager and tried to undermine him and undercut him there. So there's a lot of kind of backstabbing going on there. So we touched on that as well. So it was a real good conversation, very insightful, and can't wait to share that with you guys and let me know what you think about that. So that's that with that. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, big show Thursday night. The NBA Draft Lottery live stream, the mega stream. CPJ Ellis, Jonathan Macri of Knicks Film School. We got Schwinny from Posting and Toasting. We got the scout, Spencer Perlman. My guy Spencer is going to be in the building. And we got Corey Taliba from the Hardwood Herald. He's going to be in the building as well. So looking forward to that. The wait is over. The anticipation is over. We are going to find out where the Knicks are picking in the draft. And just to go through the odds one more time. The Knicks have a 9% chance of the number one pick. 36% chance of cracking the top 4. No shot at number 5, the way the odds go. And the highest odds are between 7 and 8. 50% chance at 7th or 8th. So brace yourself. I mean, anything can happen. But brace yourself. 7th or 8th is a realistic possibility. So, once we know that, then we can ramp up. We can establish our big board. We'll do a mock draft that night as well. We got some giveaways for you guys as well. It's going to be an action-packed show. Phone lines are going to be buzzing off the hook, especially if we get number 1. But it's going to be a big show, so can't wait for you guys to join us. That's going to be 8:15 this Thursday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's going to be a monster show. Ricky King in the chat says he can't wait. Bart Scott voice for sure. Yeah, it's going to be a monster show, man. Monster show indeed. Ari in the building. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up, CP? How you doing?
What's going on, bro?
And a lot of things real quick. I don't know who they hired the Knicks. I was busy all day, but if it's someone from Utah, then I'm for the move. I was watching that Utah Denver game, and I was just like blown away by how good these teams were, and how like I don't know any of the players on the team besides like obviously like Jokic and Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell and stuff. They have so many. These teams are so deep, and their player development is so good that they have so many people that I don't even know who the hell they are, and they're playing nice playoff minutes. Like, so I'm all for like if we hire anyone from Utah or Denver or from an organization that has like good player development. With regards to the Mike Miller thing, sayonara, that's good. We got to drain the swamp. Now Scott Perry needs to be the next one to go. We got to get rid of everybody. Like everyone from the past organization got to go, right? So I'm definitely down to get rid of. I'm good with Mike Miller leaving. He obviously not qualified to coach if he has ISO on the bench, and people just like Mike Miller because they compared him to Fizdale. But anyone compared to Fizdale would be great. His rotation sucked. I didn't like him. And Scott Perry, she should not be here because we gave away Kristaps for nothing. And if you watched the playoff game yesterday, the second Kristaps got tossed, Dallas lost control, and they lost. So whether or not KP's even hitting shots or not, him on the defensive end is huge for that team. So like the fact that Scott Perry gave him away, he needs to go also. Also, there's who I do like though? I like Jeremy Grant.
Oh, I love it.
I would go after Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
I was very impressed by what I saw from him in the playoffs.
Big time.
So I would go for him too. And obviously Jamal Murray was the pick that we traded for Carmelo Anthony. So it's more Knicks karma for you.
Yeah.
But I would go after Jeremy. I would go after Jeremy Grant, and I would still do the CP3 deal. Obviously I'd get rid of Perry and I'd get rid of Miller. And hopefully Thursday, man. That's our playoffs.
That's it, man.
If there's ever a time to rig the lottery, it's when the NBA ratings are down significantly, and there's beef with China, and it's a virtual lottery. So let's just hope there's a frozen envelope. But that's basically my 2 cents. So that's pretty much it.
Straight to the point, Ari. See you Thursday, man. Ari wants a clean house. Get rid of everybody. Listen, man, I wasn't against Mike Miller coming back, and it wasn't that, he was an anti-Fizdale, but listen, you saw improvements. You saw some of the younger guys playing better. As soon as they stopped switching, they automatically became a better defensive team, won a couple more games. Yes, the rotations were not where you wanted it to be. I didn't like it. I definitely had issues with it. I especially had issues when they, start bringing Harkless in there and start giving him playing time over everybody else. No offense to him, but I didn't like that either. But in all fairness, I felt like Mike Miller was also coaching for his job. And as an interim with the interim tag, you want to go with the guys that's going to give you the best chance to win. And those vets certainly didn't do it for him, but I could understand him going that route over the kids. And who knows, maybe that was a decision from the top. Maybe that was a Perry move as well. So I already wanted Perry gone as well. So and he still might be. Right now he's on a lame duck contract. And he could definitely be on the way out anyway. So we'll see how that goes. Jeremy Grant, would love to have Jeremy Grant. First thing he would need to do is opt out of his contract. He's got $9 million coming to him next year on a player option. maybe he opts out of that and re up at a higher deal with Denver. You know, they did trade a number 1 pick for him, so maybe they are motivated to keep him. Millsap's monster $30 million deal is coming off the books, so that may be a slam dunk move for Denver to keep Jeremy Grant. And as you mentioned, Denver, man, listen, they're clicking on all cylinders right now. You know, player development, they don't have a G League team, so all these guys come up and get groomed with the main squad. You know, you look at they got Michael Porter Jr. starting to get activated now in the playoffs. They got Bull on the bench. A lot of depth. You got Melton. You have Jeremy Grant. You have Craig. You know, like Ari said, all these guys popping up with Denver. That's a good team, a good developmental team. So we'll see what happens in the bubble. All right, last call of the night. Ice Water from Brooklyn. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on?
How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good. Enjoy your show. Thanks for taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
I like the associate coach hire. I'm familiar with the coach from Utah, and he's a pretty good coach. I've heard really good things about him, so I think that's a really good hire. I want to talk about the draft as well. I really, you know, I have no knowledge of this. I just really think that the Knicks really do not want to take LaMelo Ball, and I really hope that they don't take him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wasn't big on Lonzo when Lonzo was at UCLA, and I really don't see any difference between him and Lonzo. I don't think that would be a good pick at all. The kid from France, maybe, or you know, maybe even Cole Anthony. I would do those dudes before LaMelo. I don't think LaMelo is going to work out. I think he's just going to be just as good as his brother is. I don't know what you think about that, but that's all I got. Thanks a lot. Thanks for taking my call. Enjoy the show.
I just want to appreciate it, man. Listen, the skepticism on LaMelo is understandable. I mean, you're going off of a short sample size, coming off of a league that is probably 4th or 5th in terms of competitive, aspect, in terms of talent, overall in terms of the global leagues, right? I think you would certainly put the NBA, you would put the Spanish ACB, you probably put the Turkish league over them. I don't know where you would put the Israeli league in terms of with them and the NBL. So the sample size is short. He was injured, so you didn't get to see a lot of him. Is he going to be just like Lonzo? No, I think he's a better point guard prospect than Lonzo. Right now, shooting-wise is the biggest concern. How is his defense going to translate at the next level? Is he going to be stopped growing? I mean, right now he's close to 6'8". So what's his, how does he end up in terms of his growth? But I think they're absolutely going to go after him. If they get the number 1 pick, or even if they're within top 3, you never know if they trade up for him. But I think they're definitely going to go after LaMelo Ball. And will it work out long term? In the immediate, in the near term, probably not, because he's got to get his shooting up. And when you factor in RJ, who still needs to improve as a shooter, you factor in a guy like a Frank, all these guys, the Knicks is just a lousy shooting team. So it probably wouldn't work out in that way, but you got to hope that he can, mature to a level where he improves on that. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens in terms of LaMelo. It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting. It's not a highly anticipated draft, but I still think we got to end up with a player that can help this team moving forward. And again, brace yourself. It may not be a star, but again, it could be another player that fills a role that you keep building and keep it pushing. So we'll see. We'll see. See how it goes, man. But once again, Thursday night is going to be the big one, the NBA draft lottery live stream, the mega stream. What do you guys think? Give me a guess. Leave a guess with the pick that you think the Knicks are gonna get in this draft, 1 through 10, with the exception of 5. What do you guys think the Knicks end up with in this draft? It's gonna be very interesting. But anyway, we got an action-packed show. Jay Ellis, Jonathan Macri, Knicks Film School. We got Schwinny from Posting and Toasting. We got Spencer Perlman, the NBA scout. We have Corey Taliba, Hardwood Herald. It's going to be a monster show. Giveaways, mock drafts, phone calls, everything. So definitely looking forward to having you guys on the show. And let's see how that goes, man. But hey, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks for your patience. I had to test out the new configurations for YouTube. We finally got it up and running on YouTube. So thanks for sticking through. Be sure to check out the interview with Ben Anderson and get his thoughts on Johnnie Bryant. What do you guys think about it? Another developmental piece to add to the stable. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment in the chat. Thursday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure that you guys are there. Don't miss it. Gonna be epic. I want to shout out all the mods. TM, Dave, Raw Hebrew Remnant. Appreciate it. Who else? My guy Roman here. Thanks a lot. Definitely appreciate it. Badabucci, see you on Thursday, man. Badabucci, John Talento in here. Miguel Benitez says 5. We have no shot at 5, but appreciate it. D-Chan, appreciate it. Kamara Murray, appreciate it. We got Dominique in here. CT Pittman, Cameron Goldberg. George Jones says low expectations. Adele Chapman, do I think Dotson is gone? Yeah, I think right now I would say yes. I hope not, but I would say yes. So let's see what happens. See you guys Thursday. I'm out of here. Hit that thumbs up button for your boy one more time. Peace.